Writing and scheduling social media posts with AI just got a whole lot easier. That plus more coming up in this week's weekly breakdown right now. All right, first up, we've got a couple of updates to the email builder. The first one being the ability to insert snippets into your email templates. This is really cool because before, snippets were only able to be used in plain text emails that you were sending out, which is a cool feature. We had clients that would use these, or that do use these email snippets as like quick reply options when they receive emails from either prospects or current clients, or maybe they want to use this to send milestone updates because they want it to come from their email address. So we do have people using these email snippets quite a bit, and now you can take these email snippets, and because of this little button here that was added, you can insert them directly into the email campaign builder. If you're not using snippets, this really doesn't concern you. You don't need to worry about this, but if you are, you now have that ability to come in here and grab one of these snippets and insert it into an email that you have inside of the email builder. So this is pretty cool. This is going to make it so that a lot of that content can cross apply. You can create snippets and insert them knowing that you can come back and update those later. It doesn't look like those snippets are going to dynamically update though. So if I come in and I click and I change the snippet, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to change the snippet inside of the template builder. So be aware of that. Maybe that functionality is coming, but for right now, it's just a quick way to take your snippets and put them inside the email template builder. Also, within the email builder, you now have a spacer option, a spacer element on the left-hand side here. And so if I take this spacer element, this is going to give me a little bit more design flexibility, give me a little bit more flexibility to create some spacing within my design. I can create, I can use this to just create space there without having to put empty elements or line breaks or anything like that. So I'm sure this is going to help some of you guys with your guys' designs and getting it to look the way that you want to. But yeah, not a huge update, but definitely one worth shouting out. All right, next up, speaking of email, we now have the ability that you remember last week we went over the text message, SMS AI, I believe is what they called it, which was basically when you put a text message in a workflow, you have that little button that gives you the ability to generate the content with AI. You now have that in the email builder as well. So I'm going to move these over a little bit and show you. If I come into any of my workflows and I select to the email action, the send email action. So if I select that action, I'm going to have this write with AI option here. I did not have that before. Again, this is not yet pulling from brand voice, but I'm sure it will be soon. In the meantime, you have these tone options here, and then have the ability to type your prompt and have AI generate the email for you. So again, this just like creates less back and forth. Obviously, you can do this stuff with ChatGPT, but being able to come directly into your workflow and have AI create the content for you and save it right there, it's just making you way more efficient and it makes it so that now you should be able to stand up email campaigns, quick email campaigns. They should be able to do that in like 15, 20 minutes, maybe even less. So definitely check this out. The AI, they're calling this email AI, but it's basically just moving the ability to prompt and generate content with AI directly inside of workflows in your send email action. All right, speaking of AI, content AI now lives inside of the AI agents section inside of your sub account. So AI agents by default lives right above marketing and below that first divider on the left-hand side of your menu. Our clients actually don't have this AI agents menu item right now, and so we're going to adjust that. We're going to make sure that this week our clients have that menu item so that they can access content AI, and also the rest of the AI stuff as well. All of this, I believe, is accessible within settings, or at least it was. Yeah, voice AI agents. So you do have the ability to come in here and edit this stuff within settings in here. I think even the content AI is somewhat accessible in here as well. So we weren't like trying to restrict it necessarily. We just didn't want to distract our clients with this AI agents menu item. It is obvious that they are trying to drive more and more through this AI agents menu item, and so we'll be adding it back. But in the meantime, just know that content AI is going to be living in there. What does that look like? This is, if you are actually using content AI, your AI section will look something like this, and you'll be able to see that inside of the AI agents section. So again, on ours, we don't even have that AI agents including in our marketing account, but we will be adding that back this week. So if you're an EmpowerLO client and you're wondering, hey, where's that AI agents menu item, we will be adding that this week, and you guys will have access to all of these different items. Let us know if you guys have any questions. We do have a little bit more experience working with the voice AI, the conversation AI, etc. So we're happy to help where we can. All right, another update related to content AI, and this one, in my opinion, is way cooler than the last one. This one, with content AI, you now are customizing the content creation based on which platform you are posting your content to. So what this is, if you come into the social planner and you click on new post, and you click on content AI right here, it's now going to ask you which platform you're going to post to, so that it can adjust how it writes the content based on what's optimized for that platform. This is really cool, guys. Again, another way to keep you from going back and forth between ChatGPT and HighLevel, making you more efficient. This is going to be a trend that you'll continue to see going forward. So get used to it. Get used to staying inside of HighLevel, guys. This will make you way more efficient. But if you come in here, you can select one of these, and then now it's also going to use your brand voice. Remember, I told you guys, I even referenced this earlier in this video, they're using more and more of the brand voice features. So if you come in here, you can now, what information or update do you want to share with your customers in this Google Business Profile post? So it's showing you contextually, hey, I understand where you're wanting to post this, which shows you that it's paying attention and it's going to adjust and tailor the writing to which platform you're posting on. So this is really, really cool. It should also be behaving the same if you come in here and you click new post, create new post. And if you go this route instead, so let's say I click Google Business Profile here, I can click Content AI, generate with AI. Now, you know what? I'm not sure. It should contextually still recognize that I'm in Google Business Profile here and tailor it to Google Business Profile. But also the prompts here aren't the same as when we go about it the other way. So maybe this is something that still needs to come down the pipeline. Maybe it's not yet set up, so that when you come in and you select create new post and you go through this flow, I don't know for sure that it's going to be doing what we just talked about, that it's going to be customizing your content for each platform. However, if we come back here, like I said, and we start with content AI, this is where it's going to give us the ability to select that platform, at which point it'll tailor the content for the platform. So now I've switched from Google Business Profile to Facebook. I click on next, and what do I have? What do you want to share with your Facebook audience in this post? What do you want to achieve with this Facebook post? So coming in here, it talks about this, right? Brand voice integration, streamlined workflow, mandatory fields always visible, adaptive experience, content generation now adopts to your selected platform. So again, here we go. Note, this is currently only through the content AI option in the new post drop down. So that's exactly kind of what we just figured out, right? So definitely pay attention to this. A great way to make sure that you're tailoring your content for which platform you're posting on. All right, on the social planner note, we have another update here. Within social planner, if you didn't know already, you have the ability to bulk import social posts via a CSV file. Now, that sounds super simple. It isn't that simple. It's not that straightforward, but depending on your use case, it's worth it. Imagine as a broker owner with 30, 40 LOs, imagine you're using your centralized marketing, marketing manager or whatever, having them batch create content and create a CSV file that people can then go into, search and replace and update with their information in there, and then upload and have all of those social media posts scheduled directly on their social calendar and then posted from HighLevel. So that's a really cool use case. Another one would be if you're working with a social media management company, if you can get them to use, if you can get them to log into your HighLevel account, awesome, more power to you. But if not, if they give that to you in the form of a CSV and you can get them to adopt and use the CSV format of HighLevel, which should not be a huge challenge, then you would get the ability then to take what they're giving you and just import it one time instead of having to type out every single post. So definitely some cool use cases here. I see this being something that's used more and more in the future, just not something we've seen a ton of yet. But basically, you've got a sample CSV here. I'm not going to pull that up, but it's just essentially just a lot of configuration, like a lot of different columns. Not super simple, but this kind of shows you the flow. So if you have any questions on it, definitely be sure to go to help.gohighlevel.com and search for CSV Social Planner, or you can ask us directly and we are happy to help always. All right, next up is a really cool update for those of you guys that were trying to use the embedded email forms. They had a rating module or a rating element inside of the embedded email forms. This was a couple months ago. I don't know how many of you guys did try this. At least I know of at least a couple clients that did try this. For some reason, they had a rating field within the form inside of your email builder, but that rating form didn't exist anywhere else, and it wasn't actually like very usable. So now they've upgraded forms and surveys to include this rating option. So if I come in here and I drag and drop this rating, I've got some options as far as how I can present this. Rating settings, I can change it from stars to hearts, thumbs up. I can center it. I can move it to the right, move it to the left. I can do, two different ratings, all the way up to 10 different ratings. I can change what is on one side. So bad, I can change this to horrible and excellent or something like that. So lots of different things that we can do with this. Also, this is going to link to conditional logic on the back end. And so what you can do, this is like the thing that Google kind of frowns upon. They call it review gating, but it is something that a lot of companies do. It's something that is really hard for them to pin down and prove that you're doing it. But basically sending out a survey, it's like a customer satisfaction survey. If they rate you excellent, cool, let's redirect them to the Google business profile and invite them to repost that. But if it's less than that, then let's have a different path that allows us to address that issue with them and see if we can turn that into a 5-star experience. So that is what's unlocked with this right here. Instead of just saying, hey, would you rate this experience a 5-star experience in a yes or no question, you now have the ability to directly ask them, how many stars are you going to give us if I send you to my Google business profile? So definitely a cool feature that's going to be used a lot. Stay tuned for more on this one. All right, next up is a very, very welcome update to dashboards and reporting that allows you now to create multiple groups of filters. So if you didn't notice already, then this isn't gonna be that exciting for you. But those of you guys that have been messing around with dashboards and reporting and getting frustrated with the limitations of it, this is a huge update. Let me show you what I mean by this. So if I come in here, this is one of our clients where we are creating a dashboard for them. And in order to create this dashboard, because what we need to identify here is situations where this loan officer is listed as an LO1 or listed as an LO2 within the opportunity. That or piece was not possible before. All we had, so this add filter did not exist. All we had was and. We could just stack up and. So you had to get creative in order to create the reports that you want. For example, in this case, we had to add tags. Instead of looking at that LO1 and LO2 field, we now are using tags to identify which ones belong to which loan officer. So now this is fixed. Now we have the ability to group these filters. So I can come in and I can say, all right, I'm going to delete this one. And I'm going to say, and we're going to go custom fields, LO1 email is yuri@fulcrumloans.com. Okay, let's save this and make sure that we're getting some of this. Perfect. Okay. So now we have the ability to then add another set of filters using the same fields if we want to. Let me move this out of the way really quick. So pipeline is leads, and we're going to go here and we're going to say custom fields, LO2 email is, and we'll take this same one and we'll add that there. So now I have two different sets of groupings that'll put somebody into this category, as opposed to having to jerry rig it with a tag. This is much easier. So very welcome update to dashboards and reporting. If you have any questions on implementing this, reach out to us and we'll get you set up. All right, our last update is a really cool update, which is that you now have a new section template category inside of Page Builder, Funnel Builder, Website Builder. It's the Webinar Builder. There's multiple different layers to this. And so this allows you to create consistent headers, consistent banners, consistent like content sections, etc. Before you had global sections, which is what is currently like the best you can do. Global sections is limited to within that site or within that funnel. So if you create your website and then you create a funnel later that you want to mimic that website, all of the global sections that you have on your website will not be accessible on the funnel. However, now you have this new layer called universal sections. Universal sections goes above the global sections and makes it so that we now can create a section that is global to like across our account. So that means I can use it in my websites, I can use it in my funnels, I can use it in my blogs, I can use it in my webinars. Blogs, this is a cool one because we want to be able to add the menu, the same nav menu that's across our entire site. We want to be able to add that to every blog post that we had, and before we had to manually do that, whereas now we can create this as a universal section, and if I ever update it on my site, it'll update it on my blog as well. This is a great news for those of you guys that are managing your websites on HighLevel. Check out universal templates and let us know what you think. All right, guys, that's it for this week's weekly breakdown. A couple really cool updates that we're excited about, so definitely check those out. Let us know what you think, but stay tuned for next week's weekly breakdown, and until then, we'll see you at the top.